Welcome to Detroit Sports Plus. Hey, the eyes of the sports world are on us tonight, right?
Yeah.
Here in Detroit. Big Monday night football game, Lions, Buccaneers. I'm Derek, here with Ian, Ben, and Parker. Parker, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Parker. So Parker is one of our fan correspondents. He's sort of helping us live through the Lions 2025 season from like the fans' perspective. He's been going to away games. He was in Kansas City last week.
Was, yeah.
So
Unfortunately.
yeah. So he's the inside man. Parker, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Gentlemen, how are we feeling about tonight? Parker, why don't you start?
I feel good. I mean, they say it in the NFL, next man up, and I think we really live that. I was telling you earlier, the 49ers, I think they do a good job of that as well. We're down a lot of people in the secondary, but I think if our D-line steps up, and of course Goff steps up, run game steps up, I think we can piece together a win. I think it's going to be close, but I think we'll pull it out.
Yeah.
I think we do to the Bucs what the Chiefs did to us last week. They're coming into Ford Field. It's a primetime game. I think the whole stadium's just gonna be way too jacked up. There's gonna be way too much energy, and we're gonna win against Tampa Bay. This almost reminds me of the way the Seattle Seahawks kept coming in and beating us in Ford Field, and then we finally corrected it last year in a primetime spot. It feels exactly like we're just gonna take a page out of that book and correct this. This is a Dan Campbell special. I expect between 40 to 50 points to be scored. While it's probably going to be close up until like the third quarter, I think the Lions will pull away.
Total of 40
Thanks
or
to
50
us,
points.
we're going to be in the
Yeah, we're
stands.
gonna will 'em too.
12th
Yeah.
man right here.
Yeah.
We're bringing it tonight
40 or 50 points total?
from the Lions.
From the Lions.
From
Just
the
the
Lions.
Lions.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah. I was gonna say, go way north of that with the total tonight because there's gonna be lots of scoring tonight. I don't see any shortage of scoring from either of these offenses. I think the Lions have everything they need to stay in this game, and they're going to need it because that secondary is decimated.
Obviously, that's the big storyline tonight, right? Okay.
Yeah.
If the Lions weren't
That and
without
Baker's in town.
Well, yeah, okay. Our resident Baker Mayfield, yes. So obviously, no Brian Branch, no Kirby Joseph, no Terrion, no DJ Reed. That's literally the starting secondary for this team.
Yeah.
That's the top concern. What else about the Bucs worries you?
I mean, Baker, because he can make plays all the time. We've seen it. They've been trailing in their 5 or 6 wins. They've been trailing in the fourth quarter of almost all of them and have come back, and they're never out of the game. So that's something to definitely keep in mind tonight. He makes plays with his legs. We've seen that all season. He's tough as hell. If it wasn't Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield is the most suited Lions quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not here. But that toughness, everything you want in a Detroit Lions quarterback is what Baker Mayfield is. And so you have to be prepared for that. I think getting McNeil back tonight is huge for that D-line. And so maybe a little bit of pressure will help the secondary out. But yeah, it's going to be tough stopping the offense.
Hutch is going to need one of those 5-sack kind of nights like he had last year. And we still lost that game. But I think that front seven has to play really, really well to mask the help that's going to be needed from the secondary. And I think you just control that ball like crazy. I think the Lions, the key is to just do those long, sustaining drives and then just finish in the end zone. And then I think, with that and then some pressure from your front seven, I think we'll be just fine.
Any concerns outside the secondary for you?
Well, I would say last week we didn't block too well in the run game. I think Mahogany kind of got worked by Chris Jones. Same with Ratledge.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, who wouldn't? He's a good player, but I think that's the core of our offense, right? Is the run game, the play action. We got to get that going.
And they'll have Vita Vea tonight, so it's not like they don't have their own
guy. Yeah, it's not much different.
Yeah.
So I think if we can get that going, we don't even need like big, huge plays, but 3, 4, 5 yards. Set up that play action, suck in the linebackers, dump it over their head, I think if we can get that going, that'll be the key.
Yeah, Parker's an X's and O's, guys.
Played college football, coached, so.
I think you guys all hit on it. It's the trenches, right? Like if you are hurting at a skill position or in the secondary, you make up for it in the trenches. And getting Aleem McNeil back is big, but how much of him are you getting back today? I think they're probably going to limit how much he plays, especially with the bye next week, because you are bringing him back a week early. Because most teams would wait for the bye to get him the extra couple of weeks. So it feels like the Lions have a little bit of a sense of urgency, but
it does feel like they said he could have come back the last 2 weeks. They're
Sure.
like, he's almost there. So maybe they've waited that period.
Give
where
him the extra recovery
Yeah.
instead of the extra week.
Yeah,
right?
so I don't know. I think he's probably ready to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a bull, right, getting ready
Yeah.
to charge, It's like that, He's ready to shoot right out
Can
of
you
the gate.
show us? Okay, so obviously we all agree this game could go either way, right?
Yeah.
How does your view, Parker, on the Lions going forward change, whether it's a win or a loss tonight?
I wouldn't say much.
Okay.
Honestly, I wouldn't say much. I still think we're a very good team. The Bucs are a good team. Any given Sunday, you can win or lose a game. I wouldn't say I'm out on them going to the Super Bowl if we lose this game. If they get blown out, maybe that'll be something different, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think win or lose, we're still going to be a good spot, especially with our secondary being depleted. You don't want to make excuses, but
It would be a reason.
it would
Yeah.
be a reason.
Yeah, like I'm the same with last week. Last week's loss didn't bother me at all in the like
Slightest.
the slightest. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But I just feel like the Lions they're just going to take control of this game, and even if they were to somehow lose this game, I think it would be more disappointing that Dan Campbell lost 2 in a row, because that's just something Dan Campbell doesn't
Yep.
do. I mean, the Lions are kind of like letdown proof, and that would be a severe letdown. So I just don't see that happening. Dan Campbell, they do not lose 2 in a row, so they're going to win tonight.
Yeah. So I have a feeling I know where this is going, but give me your prediction for tonight. His two loves clashing. Lions and Baker.
I do think the Lions pull it out tonight, but I do think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be like 37-34, something like that. Late score, tight game. Baker probably tries to. We'll have an opportunity to come back. Hopefully the Lions can stop him tonight from that comeback, but it's going to be a high scoring game.
Ben, 80-0 Lions?
No,
or what
I
do
think
you-
it's
okay.
45-28, something like that.
Wow. You are betting on the over.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of scoring, and I think the Tampa Bay offense might struggle a little bit, but they're going to hit some plays. They're going to hit some big plays downfield.
I mean, Mike Evans is back tonight. That sounds like Mike Evans back tonight.
Yeah,
Practice fully Saturday.
Is Ibuka
so
playing?
We have not heard yet on
Yeah,
Ibuka.
so if he's in, then maybe they get into the 30s.
Yeah, you can flip the. If Ibuka plays, you can flip the 37-34 for me.
Oh, you think
yeah.
that's enough?
I don't think that's a deal breaker for the
I
win.
think it's enough because I think Mike Evans by himself, the Lions can stop, but both of them without anybody in the secondary who you've ever heard of,
Could be a big Meek Robertson game.
it could be.
Yeah.
It could be one of us after they pull us. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll
they
go.
saw my
I'll go
college
with
tape. And pull
Yeah, I'll
me
go
the
with the
field.
college
Yeah.
football player, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah. You
Parker,
sit
what do you
this
got
one out.
tonight?
Yeah.
35-31. I think it's going to be close.
Lions.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think we kick any field goals, all touchdowns. They kick one field goal, get the W.
Ben kind of touched on the Lions don't lose twice in a row. For me, it's that, and it's also the Lions are undefeated in revenge games, right? And last year, Bucs came into Ford Field, beat the Lions when they were kind of down. So I think they avenged that loss, and it's a clean sweep, which obviously means we'll be here sad next Monday. But we're not done talking Lions yet. The Lions in the league are not getting along right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll talk about that. All right, welcome back to DSP. Okay, obviously it's been a busy week of news for the Lions, not just on the field, but also off. We'll get to the Brian Branch stuff, but you guys saw this NFL Films thing, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, to set it up a little bit, NFL Films has this show called Turning Point. And the point of that show is to sort of identify the moments in a game where the game changed, or like the critical moment that decided a game. Well, they released this social media clip that was basically just a minute of like Brian Branch hit pieces. And it was not well received by the Lions. I mean, Dan Skipper was very outspoken. I think DJ Reader was not happy. Did you guys see this?
Yeah, I saw the clip. It was garbage. I mean, it was
Garbage as in not a big deal, or garbage as in
No,
the
it looked-
Lions are right to be frustrated?
The Lions are right to be frustrated because it looked like they had an intent to do without any evidence, right? So they were like, we're going to show how Brian Branch was so frustrated throughout the game that he retaliated. He
snapped.
And then the plays they picked were like a play where he wasn't responsible for anybody, but happened to end up near where the guy scored, and it was garbage. I don't know. I wouldn't. I think the Lions being upset about it probably gave it too much weight. It didn't deserve.
Wait, this team wanted a chip on its shoulder?
Yeah, shocking.
that would-
Yeah, I watched it and I'm just like, well, Brian Branch just have some discipline after the game, and this video doesn't exist. That's that's that. So that's my take.
Was it out of line?
What'd you say?
Were they out of line?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they apologized and took it down, right? I think it was unprofessional.
Especially Louis Riddick. Like, that's a
Yeah,
former
yeah.
safety in the NFL, right?
yeah,
Like,
he wouldn't want that,
no.
for himself.
And like you said, it's not like Brian Branch is a cornerback who was getting roasted on
Right.
all of these highlights.
They were terrible examples of somebody doing something wrong.
There were zero context videos
Yeah.
of maybe plays that included Brian Branch,
Right.
but it was difficult
Hey,
to tell.
this happened, and Brian Ranch was way over here. He did poor. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, like I think we all agree that Brian Branch probably overreacted and was in the wrong here, and that's why he's suspended.
We know
but
the
this
one
was-
play he was pissed off about.
It was the block in the back.
It was the block in the back,
Yeah.
and he has every right to be pissed. He shouldn't retaliate the way he did. Some
If he
people think. I
continues
think he
to
should,
build this
but
reputation, though, at the end of the season, do you feel comfortable handing him a big contract?
hell yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I do too.
bigger,
Yeah.
I was like,
bigger.
I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Because I was like, the guy's a good player, man. I
Kind of breathe that
If
energy.
you don't give this
Yeah.
guy a big contract because of this, after everything you say about what you want this team to be, what you want the identity of this team to be,
Yeah.
what the fans want this team to be, you may not like what happened, and we didn't want to lose him for tonight. He shouldn't have got suspended, but that's the kind of guy you want this team to be, right? Like,
Yeah. I think it's unreasonable to ask a guy to be a hard-hitting safety who
Yeah.
puts his body on the line
Yeah,
all the time,
and
who
then just
doesn't-
turn it off
Yeah, who
immediately.
doesn't have a little bit of like a mean streak in
Right.
him or like an attitude. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like with a great safety, this is just something that you sort of live with.
Yeah.
I mean, you played football, right? Doesn't this kind of come
It's
with
tough
the
to
territory?
turn it off and on.
Yeah.
You're going to war out there,
Yeah.
right? Like you're trying to kill someone.
Yeah.
And when they do something like that, it pisses you off, and sometimes you react poorly. But
Yeah.
it's got to be controlled anger. You
Yeah,
know?
and
that's
he-
what Coach
He
Campbell
cares
said.
about the outcome of the game, obviously. Like in the aftermath, he saw Juju and he was like, "Nah, not having it." The other thing is even more interesting to me. So there was the trick play to Jared Goff, right? That got called back, and Dan Campbell says the referee on the field told me that they got a call from the replay crew in New York, and that's why they overturned it. But that's not what the head official told the pool reporter after the game. He said, yeah, we had no input from New York. Obviously, this is not a situation where the truth can lie somewhere in the middle. Obviously, they got word from New York or they didn't. What do you think? Where do you stand, Ian?
I think they did get word from New York only because of the timing of how everything played out. Also, I have no idea why Dan Campbell would lie about it. I know why the NFL would lie about it, but I think they just screwed up and they don't want to take responsibility for it, and they're not going to. And what are you going to do about it?
You know the thing where
Yeah.
officials will stand and discuss a play and they're all kind of looking up at the
Yeah,
replay monitor
right,
and then
yeah.
the flag comes
Right.
out. This is like that, right? Except
Yeah.
they got a little bit of help from the league, which was like, man, it's going to be a bad look when everybody's on social media saying like, here's the rule and
Right.
here's what the Lions did, and it objectively shows that they broke.
Yeah.
it.
But who knew that he needed to stop? Like, I didn't know that.
didn't know that.
I've never heard that before ever.
Yeah. And then, did you see somebody ran that play yesterday?
Yes.
The Vikings.
The Vikings.
Vikings,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
And he made a very exaggerated stop out
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah.
It was 100% intentional.
Yeah, but I actually think that play, that call, I think that's what got into the Lions' head that entire Chiefs game, and I just don't think they ever really mentally recovered from that call, because I think that's exactly what happened. It was a touchdown. They huddled. They got the call from New York. Of course, they're going to lie about it. I mean, it just reminds me of the Dan Skipper, monstrosity again, and Taylor Decker not reporting. Of course, they're going to just say, it was on the Lions when they really messed up. It reminds me of that situation so much because they just won't take accountability. But that's 100% what happened.
That's a great point too. And sorry, I know Parker was trying to get to Parker on this, but that was a terrible play call. Okay, can I be the one person who says that was a terrible play call? How
No, for
lucky
sure.
we got that it
right.
bounced off the back of Goff dropped it. It's 4th and 1. You have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
That's not the play we should be running.
I agree.
So they probably didn't deserve the touchdown anyway.
Well, this is a little. I agree that it brought up shades of like the Cowboys 2-point conversion, right? Which
Yeah.
got called back after all this stuff. But that one, there's at least a little bit of ambiguity because we don't know what they said to the official. officials or whether
Right.
they reported as eligible. We know for a fact watching this replay that like by the definition of the rule, that is not a legal play, right? So like,
Right.
but how many times have we seen something like that happen to the Lions and they don't get like the flag 60 seconds later, right? So I get where both sides are a little bit frustrated. Parker, where do you stand on this?
I mean, we can all agree Dan Campbell's never told a lie in his life. So
Yeah,
I think
obviously.
we know who's telling the truth there.
Right.
But yeah, like Ian said, I mean, it's kind of a gadget play you don't need to run. It's, 4th and goal on the 1, just run it with Montgomery or Gibbs or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they try to get a little too tricky sometimes, and typically it works, but yeah, I think we got lucky there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that rule existed, to be honest.
I know that to the gallery over here, the Lions could never be villains, but do you guys think with the Brian Branch thing, he got thrown out of a game last year and then flipped off fans on the way out. Kirby Joseph is known as a hard hitter. The Lions sort of have a reputation for blowing out teams, running up the score. Do you think these like lovable underdog Lions are starting to develop more of a villain reputation?
I think so. I mean, I don't think we're underdogs anymore. I think
Yeah.
everyone's out to get us, hence why the Chiefs came to play last week. They know we're for real. But no, I think so a little bit. I think that's the brand that we want to take, honestly. It just needs to be like controlled. You can't be getting personal fouls and doing stupid things. But yeah, we definitely. Yeah.
When I think about the past 2 years, part of me is like, yeah, they're becoming villains. But then I remember the rest of my life, and I'm just like, no.
I think, yeah, like why wouldn't you want to be the villain in this situation? What would you rather be other than the villain? The villain means everybody hates you because you're good,
Yeah.
right? And like, so why wouldn't you want to be?
That
the
would be a
villain?
lot more fun if we were the villain with a few more Super Bowls. But
Yeah.
once we
Or
get there,
one.
then
Yeah,
Or
let's
one.
start with
We'll
one.
start with
We'll
one.
get there.
Yeah, well, high stakes, national TV. I'm sure nothing controversial is going to happen tonight. Like, there's no way, right?
except for 2 fans that ran on the field to tackle somebody.
Those guys look familiar. I saw them on DSP today. Parker, thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
us.
of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk a little Michigan State. It's rivalry week. Michigan and Michigan State back on Local 4. Saturday night, we'll have a pregame show at 6:30. Game kicks off at 7:30. Everybody's talking about how much Michigan's going to win by, right?
Yeah.
We're back here.
Yeah.
What do you guys expect? Let me phrase it this way. What is the biggest danger for Michigan going into this game?
Probably not taking Michigan State seriously enough. I mean, this is not new to
No,
anybody
it's
who knows
the same
anything
script.
about this script. Michigan State's going to come in not as good, little brother. Michigan's supposed to roll over them, and then you'll get a block punt with no time left and lose the game. So you cannot let that happen.
Yeah, I expect Michigan State to look probably the best that they've looked all year in this game, because that's what they do, especially on down years. They come out, and even when it's not that close of a game, they'll make it close for like a half. It'll probably be like that. It'll be close for a half until Michigan pulls away. But it's fun to see Bryce in his first big rival game, and so I want to see how he responds. How does he look? He looked great the other day or yesterday, and his development it's in the right direction. And I think all year you just want to see that arrow pointing up, and so far it's been pointing up the whole season. So. But Michigan looks like they're right where they should be, so I expect them to roll over Michigan State fairly easy.
Yeah.
But that's my expectation.
For me, the way that Michigan State has played, and there have been a couple bouts in there. The way that Michigan State has played Michigan since sort of the peak D'Antonio years reminds me a little bit of how Michigan has played Ohio State recently, where even when Michigan hasn't been great, they've stepped up for that Ohio State game. So I do expect it to be a hard-fought game. I just remember the 2020 season. Michigan State lost their opener to Rutgers, and it was like, man, Michigan's just going to roll these guys. And what did Michigan State have? They had one great wide receiver and a QB who could throw the ball up to him. And Michigan State has a good quarterback and 2 great receivers playing on their team this year. So I don't think, I don't think Michigan State should be the favorite or anything like that. But I do think that this is a little bit of a dangerous game for Michigan because I don't think Michigan is this superpower team, This
They
is a
looked
team
pretty
with,
good this weekend against Washington. I would say that was probably maybe.
They're a good team. They're a flawed team, and they're not an overwhelming team in any area, to be honest with you. I think that defense can be had a little bit with certain game planning, and I think that having deep threats down the field is the way to do it. So, I think that
there's just no way Michigan
As someone who
State's
has
defense, though.
learned their lesson in the past,
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to just chalk this one up. But okay, who needs it more is a completely different question, right? Because we're starting to hear the murmurs about Jonathan Smith. Like, is he the guy? Like, is he on his way out? Well, he could definitely buy himself probably at least the rest of this year with a win over Michigan. But Sharon Moore, it's not like he's in some cushy spot either. I mean, a loss to Michigan State would officially knock them out of the playoff for the second year in a row. And Michigan fans are known for being the most patient. So if you had to pick one, who needs it more?
I think Michigan needs it more because of the playoff talk you were talking about. I don't think there's any expectations for this Michigan State team. I think maybe Jonathan Smith needs it the most because I think he's done there probably. He just hasn't brought to them what you kind of expected.
There's no signature moment yet.
No, there's
you
no
know?
signature moment. He's not doing great in the recruiting. They aren't flashy on offense. They have one of the, if not one of the best receivers in the country, and you just refuse to give him the
Yeah.
ball. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little too reminiscent of John L. Smith. He needs to go out there and smack himself. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Michigan, I think they need it more because of everything that they have riding on it, and they just have too much to lose rather than Michigan State. If they win, then it's a great feel-good moment for them until they go get crushed next week or whatever. I think it's just way too much for Michigan. They need it much, much more.
Yeah, I agree that the stakes for Michigan as a team this season are higher because they still technically have their goals in front of them, whereas Michigan State probably not anymore. But in terms of the coaches, Sharon Moore at least has like a great recruiting class to lay back on, and like the fact that he sort of like unlocked the Michigan NIL cannons, like and he was here for a national championship. Like he has sort of these things that he can point back to. Jonathan Smith came to East Lansing as a relative unknown, out of the West Coast, and they're just most seasons at Michigan State, even when they've struggled, they've had that one like upset win where you're like, well, Michigan State showed it there, and he just hasn't had that yet, and he's still looking for it. This would be it. So I think if he could get it, that'd be huge for him.
If they could get rid of Jonathan Smith now, they could get James Franklin.
Is that a fit? I
mean,
don't know.
as a Michigan fan, I think they should go after James
Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see where James Franklin ran. He guaranteed on game day that he was going to win the championship somewhere. So maybe
somewhere.
Yeah,
Maybe he's playing NCAA 26.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that'll do it today for us on DSP. Obviously, Michigan State, 7:30 p.m. kickoff, 6:30 preview. Ben, have a great time at the name.
Yeah, I won't have a voice tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the game.